Hey y'all, welcome to the Moving with Millennials podcast with your favorite millennial realtors.
We are 4 top producing agents in the DFW area, and we are ready to share the good, bad, and the real life of real estate.
Whether you're thinking about getting into real estate, already an agent, or just curious about what your agent really does, join us.
Tune in every Wednesday to see what it's really like to be on this side of the transaction.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode with Moving with Millennials. It is officially February 1st, so this month we're kicking off a series of all things, or the month of love, I guess. We're gonna do Valentine's themed type series, and today is Jake's birthday, so we're going to talk about his first love, which is interior design.
Yeah, I'm glad to be celebrating my 28th birthday with you guys.
28. How many years have you celebrated your 28th birthday?
Yeah.
Here's a 28.
The anniversary of what? I love it. Yeah, let's talk all things design. I feel like this topic came up because there was one episode we were talking about design and Jake started going off about like,
his
this
Christmas
and that
tree.
with the design features. I was like, this is a great episode.
Yeah.
Because I feel like design for me, like, I don't know, I don't think I could go to a design center and pick a bunch of things on my own and make it look good. Either. But you could give me packages, or you could give me you could show me things, and then I can from there say, yes, that looks great, and then go off of something.
You could cover one eye and tie one arm behind my back, and I could still design a full house.
I believe it.
Any price point in like a few hours.
I would
max.
overanalyze so much. Like I would need someone to help me. I would need like
100%.
a palette to choose from.
When we bought our house in Richardson, before we bought it, I picked all of like the remodel stuff out and samples basically at the design center that I worked at the time, and then just had Jason come in, and he went, yeah, it looks great. I think it'll all look. He's like, I think it'll all look together once it gets built, or like it's done.
Yeah.
Some people's brains just work that way, so my brain can just envision things and see it larger scale, and some people don't necessarily have that skill set.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I went to the design center recently with one of my clients. They were picking out everything, and it was just so much fun to like seeing it all being done. But I was so overwhelmed with all the design choices because it seemed like, to you, it probably doesn't seem like this, Jake, but like there were so many things that were so similar that I was like, I don't see enough of a difference to make a difference. But then once I saw it together, I mean, obviously everything they picked looked great, but I was like, wow, like how do you decide?
Well, I
don't know.
It was such a fun job because I did that. You know what y'all are describing. I was the designer that helped people do that for 6 years, I think.
When it's like paint color and like grout color, these are like, I just feel like that is just one of the hardest things to. Yeah. Because grout color is so small, but like some look yellow, and you like.
So grout can drastically change the way that a tile looks. One of the little fun, interesting that happened during our remodel is I had Carrara marble tile, so white and gray is the color pattern, and these tiny little hexagons, so it looks like a honeycomb, was being put in as our powder bathroom floor. I mean, it was just so pretty. But I walked in part of the way through as they're finishing grouting, and they had grouted with like an orange grout.
Oh my gosh.
Like orange undertone?
Yeah, no, like, I mean, it was called rust, but it was made for like natural stone that's kind of darker. You want to hand that to me, Gina?
Oh,
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I didn't, Anyways, so there just was a mistake on the work order. They had to, while it was wet, scrape it out and then re-grout it. But so, I mean, it looks awful. But even that, like if it's a certain tile and the grout goes one color, it'll pull that color out of the tile. And if it's another, it'll pull a different color. Yeah. So everything has to complement each other.
So I definitely learned that the hard way in our kitchen, which now I look at our kitchen
you've told me that.
and I absolutely cannot stand it. It's like the one thing in our house I hate. No, there's more than that. But
they make stickers for that.
Well, I'm thinking about. I was thinking about taking it off and redoing it. Even though it's been years. Well, so the color that we chose, it's which now is probably not in at all, but it was kind of a gray toned backsplash. Like it was almost like a stone, but like a pattern stone. So when I chose it at Home Depot or wherever I found it, I really loved it. Well, then when they went to install it, he was like, well, okay, what grout color do you want? I said, I didn't think about that. I said, whatever's normal, like the normal, like a normal grout color to me was like an off-white or whatever. Oh, they did an off-white, but it had brown undertones, and so instead of my backsplash now having gray tones, it had brown.
Muddy.
It was brown. Yeah,
like
it was brown
tones,
colors.
Yeah.
And literally, I could put a piece of like the raw sample up next to it because it's like one of the.
Like it.
Yeah, it was like a one square foot of it. Next to it looks nothing like it at all.
Well, and especially if it's anything with natural stone, because as they grout with a trowel. It's not like they're like putting it in the tiny little spaces. So that natural stone can actually soak in some or absorb some of the grout.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah.
So I learned that the hard way, and so when we did like our bathroom, I was like, I'm gonna find exactly what the color is on the example because that's what I want.
Sure.
And I've helped you pick paint colors.
Yeah, twice. Old house and
which
both
and
were
they're great.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Because our old house had like more beigey tones and like whatever the color. What
the
was
white
it?
that I
flower?
picked, it had a. And if you think of flower, or whatever it was, I picked something that had like a slightly yellow, but without being yellow, it was a creamier undertone.
It was not yellow at all. Like if I would have painted that in our new house, it would have looked yellow.
Right.
But it was perfect. Like whites are so hard because they can look yellow, they can look beige, they can look blue.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where I recommend painting a swatch on the wall that's like 1 foot, like 12 inches by 18 inches, and looking at it multiple times throughout the day. Because it will drastically change.
Especially on different, walls, like where, it totally makes a difference depending on, like, if it's on a wall with a lot of light.
So if you have the time to do that, I definitely recommend it. That's the best way to do white, or a lot of whites, but a lot of colors, so you can do that. But whites especially, I always am like, paint a swatch if you have time. We didn't really have time for that.
Yeah, well, so I've done that with 4 other colors that were... I was like, this is too white. And then that's when I asked you, I was like, what? I need something now.
And I picked something for Brandie, too. That was paint-wise. I don't remember what.
Snowbound was what the new house is.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Snowbound is one of my favorites.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, question for you, Jake. What's your favorite room to design? Like the kitchen, the bathrooms?
That's so hard to say. I actually really like powder bathrooms. I think you can be the most adventurous with. I heard this, like, not a quote, but like another designer that was like, the powder bathroom is your chance to have almost like a little jewel box in your house.
It's like the fun. Like,
so you open that door and it should be like a surprise. It should be dramatic. It should be fun.
It could be kind of quirky.
And a lot of times you open and they're painted the same color as the rest of the house. They have this little pedestal sink and a little toilet right across from it. You're like, this could be so much because it doesn't cost a lot to do the space because it's so small. You don't need a lot of materials, and it really should be dramatic. So I really like powder bathrooms, or even like sometimes it's like if you have a guest bathroom that's not going to be used by like kids or guests all the time, then that's their same chance for you to be dramatic and fun.
Yeah, I'm seeing that a lot in utility rooms too. Like the floor in there will be kind of like really crazy or
the
fun.
geometric or
that is such a weird trend to me.
I love that tile.
What's it
called?
That pattern, they make it in so many. So it's supposed to be like what's called a saltillo tile, and they're originally were like this dark clay, and they're super thick, and now they've like patterned them, and it's made to look like concrete that's then like patterned, and then it puts together. But now they make like ceramic and porcelain versions of them because the original format of them stains and doesn't wear very well.
Especially in a wet area like that.
But I don't understand like the trend of decking out your utility room. I just don't get it.
I do.
I don't want to spend that much time in it. To me, it should look like a hospital, so it'll make me want to get in and get back out.
Well, I think that was kind of like, because my clients that just went to the design center, they made theirs really cute and like how she wanted it, because she's like, because she
is in there so much,
about to have 3 kids. Yeah, they literally were in there so much, or she's in there so much that she wants to be able to enjoy it.
You might as well,
I want a mudroom, but now that I've had my washer and dryer in my master closet, I don't think I will ever want to live without that.
Yeah.
I do love that as one design feature I love on floor plans is when the utility room connects to the master closet. I love that.
Yeah. I do love that too.
Let's talk about that. What are other fun little design things you guys have seen that you guys love?
So the pass-through utility room is one of my favorites. I don't know. I mean, I like anytime, this is not a floor plan feature, but if it's 2-story house, max out the floor plan and use a lot of your space, but make sure I would always want a 2-story family room. If I'm gonna have the 2-story house, I want the dramatic ceilings in the family room. I want that 2-story vaulted feeling.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely makes the house look so much bigger from downstairs.
Yeah.
Built-in dog shower
in utility rooms. That's super. Yeah, that's really cool.
I do love. I haven't really seen this much in person, but I see a lot of videos and TikToks, reels with this, but it's like it looks like a kitchen cabinet, but when you open it, it walks into like the pantry.
Yes.
Like a big
Or a butler's pantry.
Yes, and that's where they also have like their microwave and like other appliances.
Secondary appliances.
Oh, is it usually not the main microwave? Well, I don't care to be that bougie, but.
Yeah, it's secondary.
But I do like that it almost has like a little tiny sink and like prep station.
So what that is that is for the price point of that home. Those people are typically hosting parties and they want catering back there. Oh, they want the catering staff to be prepping and warming up food and doing all that in that room so that their kitchen still looks pretty. Because if you think about open floor plans, your kitchen is visible to like your family room and all that space in those giant houses. They don't want catering right there in the kitchen. So it's designed to have the staff hidden. It's like, it's the worst thing. I mean, worst way you can say it, but
I just like that the idea of like having my blender or like my toaster not on top of my kitchen counter and like having it in there, but ready, and I don't have to get it out every time.
In a more practical floor plan, and not at that price point, the way that you can do that is they make appliance garages. So there's a small cabinet that comes all the way down to the countertop, and then it almost like an old like bread thing, like that will like lift, and that is where your Vitamix and your, that's just on top of like the countertop. But then they do also make lower cabinets where you open the door and there's this little thing that holds your like stand mixer and all kinds of stuff, and it slides out and lifts up to countertop height. That's like a serious cabinet upgrade. But cabinet garages are not that expensive because they take it's just between your countertop and an upper cabinet. They build this extra little space, and it looks like the same cabinetry, and it just like lifts up, and that's where there's usually electrical in there, so that's where your toaster, your crock pot grandma can go, and all that kind of stuff. That's also one of the things that I'm really enjoy doing is what's called like redlining cabinet elevations. So a blueprint for a house has like the front view of all of your cabinets or built-ins for studies, any sort of cabinetry in your home. And it tells you it'll tell you like which way the doors are going to swing and things like that. And people never think about that. I'm like, nope, that should swing the opposite direction. Like I'll go through and like change those. And like that's when you can add in like trash drawers and all that can be done in the blueprint. I love doing that for cabinetry. It's one of my favorite things. Because it can be customized so much and people just don't realize.
For sure. What is that thing called when you have a standalone tub and a shower? It's in the same thing.
Japanese wet room.
I think that's a great way to use space.
Tub's in the
in the shower.
But it doesn't look weird. It
doesn't. No, usually it's just behind a glass wall. I think that is a much better version of what was popular about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe even a little longer. When I was in design, they would put your tub, a freestanding tub, in like the middle of the bathroom, and behind it would be like a wall that had a glass window in it. And then on each side was a doorway, and you could walk into the shower on either side. Does that make sense? So like the shower had 2 entrances, one on each side. And we called them car washes because you would walk in one side and walk out the other. And they, as pretty as they are, they're freezing because there's no door to them ever. It's just a walk through. And so they were the least practical design choice that of like when I was designing. They look, you could make them really pretty do all the things with them. But I usually told people add like your regular shower head, add a rainfall shower head from the ceiling, and add body jets because you were going to want all the warm water on you because you're going to be freezing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so I kind of want to do something a little bit different. I just had an idea to do like a lightning round of questions for you. So the situation is I am looking to build a house and of course have like a budget in mind. So I'm trying to like be kind of budget cautious, but I have a little bit of like wiggle room or fluff to be able to kind of do some nicer designs. So what would be like a flooring, the type of flooring that you would choose in the house, or tell me to choose?
Well, I think it really depends on your family and what your needs are. That's really going to make a huge difference. If you have kids and pets running around, you need something more durable. If you don't have that, then you have other options. So, I mean, if you, like Maggie, you've got big dogs, they go in and out, Hank loves mud, water, all the things. If you have that, plus, some kiddos running around, the best option for you is going to be a luxury vinyl plank. They look beautiful. They're going to look like wood floors or stone or whatever you want them to look like. They're waterproof. They're super durable. You don't have to worry about them scratching. They're fantastic. I really like that. And they've gotten much better. I think a lot of people think of like the old linoleum floors that would like roll out and like a big thing. No, these still go in piece by piece.
Or the ones that like don't like they like have.
Oh, that hollow sound?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's
they are
so that's a
all the way-
laminate. Yeah. I would say I personally would never choose a laminate flooring.
Okay.
Now that luxury vinyl plank is an option, if I'm not going to do wood, then I would do luxury vinyl plank.
Yeah.
So if you don't have kiddos and things like that running around, you have two other good options. When you're thinking hard surface, you've got real wood, which is going to be like a 3/4 inch piece of wood that's like nailed down onto a subfloor. That's the type of wood that you think of with older homes. It can be sanded down and refinished as many times as you want. So the design center,
Right.
they're going to call that like nailed down hardwoods.
Gotcha.
Or typically it's real. Like I said, it's like a 3/4 of an inch piece, thick, solid piece of oak.
It's really,
white oak, red
but
oak.
it's not water resistant, things like that.
No, so
It
if you think
works.
about that, they're gonna stain it on site and then they put a clear coat on top of it and that just air dries. So you can get scratches in that. The good thing about that is if the scratches are really bad, you can always just touch it up with a stain pen and cover it up. If they get really bad, you can sand it down and restain it. They're not water resistant whatsoever, so if you can get water damage on them horribly. And since they go in piece by piece, you end up having to take a larger section of it out when you're replacing it with water damage. And then you have what's called engineered, which is a man-made product. It's different layers of wood kind of like all glued together. And it's still individually stained, but then the clear coat goes on and then it's in a factory. So a lot of times that clear coat, not for all engineered, but a lot of them gets baked on. So that clear coat is really strong. And so it can still scratch, but typically they're a little harder to scratch than real hardwoods.
Can you re-stain or resurface?
So I don't want to throw out a stat, but with a vast majority of them, no, you can't. Because the only piece that's that stainable wood is usually the top, like, few millimeters. So you would have room to sand it. Everything under it is still wood. It's different. What they do is they take, almost think of like that wood that's like all the pieces of wood glued together. Think of that, it's like an MDF material, and they glue it. How they make that is they glue it in opposite directions, and what that does, it makes it hold together, so it increases the strength of the product.
Yeah.
And then they just put the really pretty piece of wood on top.
Got it.
So what would make someone go with regular hardwoods or nailed down hardwoods versus the man-made ones?
The man-made ones, you get a huge variety in look and style. So they can because they're only using a thinner piece of wood, they can do more expensive types of wood because they're not having to pay for as much of them. So you do get a wider range of look and style with that than you do with like a stained on site hardwood floor.
Got it, that makes sense.
So if you're wanting a really specific look, they may not be able to accomplish that with real hardwoods.
Got it.
You get variation in plank size, all kinds of things.
So you think a luxury vinyl would be a very cost-effective but looks great and luxurious? Luxurious.
And they're not seen as a luxury product, but that is the perception of that is changing in the market.
Yeah.
So.
No, I definitely am seeing builders do it more. I saw some builders doing, when you talk about the linoleum or the vinyl, I've seen some that are doing like it's almost like they don't have any flooring underneath it, and I really wasn't super impressed.
Like that sticky stuff?
Yes, it's like very thin. It feels like hard, like you're standing on like concrete
it's
or
like
something.
wallpaper but flooring.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was a little discouraged, or thought that was kind of still not great, but I love when I see the luxury vinyl, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a good tip. Okay, so if I did have some extra, if I had some extra cash on hand, my next question, or lightning question, if I had some extra cash on hand, what's one place that you would tell me to like spend some extra money?
Cabinet customization. So as much as your builder will allow you, a lot of large production builders, they don't really do a lot of cabinet customization. But if you're working with a builder that will allow you to customize your cabinets, you can do so much. And especially in your kitchen, you shouldn't have just all doors on the bottom. You should have some banks of drawers, whether or not those are going to hold pots and pans or all kinds of things. I'm a huge fan. They're called banks of drawers. So instead of like one wide cabinet with doors, it's drawers.
Drawer?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're so much more useful. I know it sounds crazy, but once you see it in person, it's so useful.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot you can do with that. We talked about, the appliance garage. There's even things to where you can have like your upper cabinets, because there are different depth in the lower cabinets, just rock all the way down in certain sections, and it gives you more like a pantry feel for those cabinets. And they're useful for storage. The other thing you should almost always, I don't know that many people don't do this, but make sure that you have adjustable shelving within your cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
You should have some cabinets that the shelves aren't all the way as deep as the actual cabinet itself. It allows for higher storage of things or storage of taller things. So there's just so much you can do with cabinets, customize it. If customization of cabinets is not an option, then the other thing you should spend your money on is either your flooring or your countertops, because the two things you do not want to do.
Change later or
Yeah, you don't want
afterwards.
to change them.
Yeah. That actually leads me to my next question. What is something that I should save my money on and when I go into the design center, because I could easily change it afterwards?
How handy are you? That's my question.
Okay, I mean, I could probably would maybe have to hire it out, but like I think of like light fixtures. Like if I wanted to, depending on what I want to do with light fixtures, like say I really wanted.
We've talked about avoiding warranties before, so I'm not going to go super far down that, but just know that whatever you're changing aftermarket, it can affect any sort of warranty that you have on your home. I'm also about to sneeze. We're going to try to hold that in.
Now you want
Yes, yeah, perfect. So yeah, I think lighting, since most builders do it in like packages and things like that, lighting and plumbing are both things that you can change on your own.
Yeah.
And you get a better variety when you're doing it on your own.
Yeah. Lighting, and I've had people do
door hardware.
That and cabinet hardware.
Door hardware is one of those things where I'm like, just leave it alone. Like, get what you want in the beginning, and then leave it alone. Because I think it's annoying to change door hardware.
Yeah.
I've personally done it and I find it annoying.
Yeah. What about cabinet hardware?
Cabinet hardware, no matter what, you should never personally do it yourself, because you'll get wonky pulls, and we've all shown houses with that, and it like looks awful. I mean, a lot of builders don't want to do that anyways. There's no margin in it for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're paying someone to do very tedious work.
Yeah, and probably having to warrant it then.
And they don't have that in stock because there's an infinite number of choices. So then if they let you pick something, they're custom ordering it, which means they don't get any sort of discount on it because it's a one-off order.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That was my lightning questions. Maggie, do you have any like that?
I just have a random one. Other than laminate flooring, what flooring would you stay away from?
So I am a huge proponent of you should not have carpet anywhere in your home.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't have stairs?
Yeah, so I think a pretty, so like if you have hardwood stairs, having a carpet runner that runs over the hardwood, I think that's pretty.
I think so.
And adds like some cushion, on your joints as you're going up the stairs. But once you get upstairs, again, all back to hard surface, and then your room should have rugs.
Yeah.
The rugs can be changed out. One, carpet is gross. If you hear only one thing from this episode, carpet is gross. The number of like species of mites that it holds, just like all the things. It's bad for allergies. Just don't do carpet.
Well, with dogs, like I just couldn't do it with dogs.
Yeah, I have carpet in the condo right now, and it like grosses me out to know that like other people have lived on this, and I kind of know where their feet have been. What if they pee in the shower and then they walk on the carpet? I'm like, it's just gross to me. All the germs.
That was definitely one thing right before we had her.
Bless you. You got my sneeze.
Yeah, we changed out all the carpet in the house because I was like, I know they had dogs before, I know they had kids before, so it's just nice to know it's brand new.
So gross.
Like even if you clean it, like it's still, I feel like not clean.
Yeah.
Like just
the one room in our entire downstairs that we did carpet in was our master closet. And that's because I'm the type of person, I'm the ADHD person that I was like, our closet was big, first of all, massive. Like we had a chandelier in our closet. And 12-foot ceilings. And like, not like a super, like a modern one, but still. I like sometimes would like sit down as I was getting ready and like try to figure out like what clothes I was gonna wear, and I would like end up being in there. Yeah, it does. So that, and if you're gonna do that, make sure you invest in like the best carpet pad possible. They either make gel ones or ones that are like, they have a membrane on top to prevent moisture from soaking down into the pad, because that's the even worse, grosser part of the carpet is the pad usually. So get that where it's like memory foam or gel with a waterproof membrane on top.
Yeah, I used to not love the waffled look carpet, that they do. It's usually like,
I would always only do that.
Well, that's what it always was a super upgrade, and I used to be like, ooh, like it doesn't look
carpet.
Like the texture that's very short and it's patterned.
It looks like, have you like a waffled rug, or not rug, robe? A robe that you wear, and it's got the waffled look.
Yes.
So they have that flooring.
Low pile.
And it was always at the top of the like upgrade list for like a level 10 carpet, and I'd always be like, I don't like the look of it. Now, the more I think about it, I like it a lot more than like the one that has like the long pieces.
I just thought about this. My mom has hardwoods throughout her whole house, but in the main living room, it looks like a giant rug.
But it's an inside of carpet.
It's a pretty, like geometric type.
Yeah.
Carpet.
And
I love it.
Fairly common.
Yeah, it's got like a pattern to it.
But it's like, I feel like it doesn't get dirty because it's like a fabric of a rug.
Yeah.
So what would be, you wanted to talk about
trends?
Yes.
What are
I'm
some
excited to hear these.
Okay.
the new trends coming out?
Yeah. So I'm never gonna say that like the gray is out because I honestly think that there's, even when gray was in, beige or off-whites and a warmer tone could still be like appropriate. But we are definitely seeing a move away from gray just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're also, so you have to keep in mind design trends are not only run in cycles, but they react to like what it was before. So even like way back when people like wanted wood floors, and then people were like, oh my God, how could someone put carpet or that linoleum over the wood floors? It's because your parents had that wood floor and you didn't want it because you saw this like old, so you put in like a new thing over it. So design trends like react to each other.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's been really popular the last like handful of years is like white walls, white ceilings, white kitchens, white countertops, white subway tile, like all white.
Yeah.
So get ready for some like dramatic color.
Black.
It is
I'm
coming
seeing
back.
black.
So black rooms, like
Yes.
black dining rooms to me like have my heart if I
Or like
do
this
define
color,
my condo that
very
like
dark gray.
yes, yeah. So look for some like really, and they're not necessarily like vibrant colors. They're not like jewel tones that you think of. They almost are still like this. The blue that we're in, the room that we're in, has like a blue that has like more of a gray undertone.
I love this color.
So picture this, but like 3 shades darker on like walls and ceilings. We're also seeing more rooms that are doing walls, ceilings, and trim all the same color. Like the baseboards, if there's crown molding, like everything. So you walk in that room and it's just an envelope of color.
I guess that
which
makes
is so fun.
Yeah, like, because if you have a white room, it's white trim, white ceilings, white everything. So, like, I guess that makes...
Yeah,
but that's really...
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
Yes, I could send you like all the design bloggers that I follow. Like everyone else, there's this beautiful black dining room that I'm in love with right now. It's just so gorgeous.
A lot of pretty black kitchens.
Yes.
Like black cabinets, black walls.
Yeah, so kitchens are still staying fairly light, but we're seeing more, instead of like painted cabinets, more white or lighter wood. I mean, like gray washed wood.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's white oak typically because it has a simpler grain. But you're seeing that, and then whereas everyone has wanted like the white quartz countertops for so long, get ready to see some like crazy real marble. Like we're talking like huge, crazy
like lots
patterns.
Of
lots of veining.
Yes,
lots of veining and lots of patterns. Yeah,
I don't like a lot of veining.
Super dramatic. Because if you think like everything has been white and like that's serene and simple. So now it's pushing towards like I want to feel something when I go in a room. Like I want the drama. So you're seeing and it sounds crazy, but again, when you see it in the right space, you're like, oh my God, it like is gorgeous.
Yeah. And that's where I don't have that designer brain, so like everything you're saying, I'm like, I don't know, but it's like as I see it more and more, then I start to really. So I'm like always so delayed. So like the trends. Because I have, the more I see it, the more I like it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is design can be like regionally different. Typically, Texas is about 2 to 3 years behind on design trends from like the coasts. So like coasts are kind of like for us in the United States are where like trends start, and design trends come down from hospitality and commercial spaces to then people liking that in the residential spaces. That's like the workflow of design. So something will be really cool in hotels, and then that'll move into residential design like a couple years later. But that typically starts on the East Coast and then kind of like moves in. So Texas is usually late to the party.
Makes sense.
So yeah, dramatic marble, and you're gonna see that in like kitchens and bathrooms and things like that. This has been on the way back already for like a little while, but really seriously, wallpaper is fully back in.
Oh, 100%.
Like, see it, love it. The texture, the pattern, it gives you so much more freedom to paint. And it's becoming more and more affordable. It used to be super expensive. Installation used to be super expensive, and all of that like across the board.
Because you couldn't really find it as common as you probably can now.
Yeah. Like, again, there's like a time and a place for this where it's appropriate, but like farmhouse is dead.
Yeah. Oops, don't come to my house.
Again, like if you're like a shabby chic and like that's your personal style, well, that's fine. Like this is the one thing. If you love it and it works for you, then that's your style. That's totally fine. If you're wanting a house where people walk in and they're like, oh, like this is really on style or on trend, then you have to pay attention to the trends. But if like that's your personal style and you love it, there's no one saying that you can't have that.
For sure.
Like if you are your home, house is decked out in like Joanna Gaines' farmhouse and you love it, leave it.
Yeah.
There's nothing
I'll
wrong
just
with
wait
it.
20, 30 years when it's back in.
Yeah.
Is yours super
It's
farmhouse?
not, I wouldn't say it's super. It definitely leans that way, but it's not like as farmhousey. Like we did redo our fireplace to shiplap and I painted it white.
Yeah.
And then I've got like the big
So
clock on top.
yeah, so now like anyone that has like painted shiplap, like our Richardson house had it, but now it's like it's a dark gray. Yeah. And it's like you just have to change it and adapt it. So there's nothing saying like rip it out. But if you want to like update it a little bit, you can always paint it. Yeah, that's like one of the things.
Yeah.
Mixing of metals. So whereas like your doorknobs and your kitchen faucets and your light fixtures were all like one color, whether or not you went like black or brass or silver, whatever it was. Now it's like super common to mix and match those things. You can even like mix and match within the same room. So I'm kind of a huge fan of black door hardware. I just think it's like really pretty. It doesn't show fingerprints at all, but I like brass plumbing fixtures and a mix of lighting. So you can mix all that. You can have a stainless steel sink, a brass faucet, and black cabinet hardware if you want to. That is totally fine. They're metals. They're all complementary to each other because they're all natural tones.
Isn't that funny? I felt like that kind of followed suit with like jewelry. Like
gold
jewelry was out. You had to have only silver.
Yeah.
And then people started mixing it.
And then they did start mixing them.
Yeah.
Because I used to be so weird about mixing them, but I love mixing them.
Same.
And then you want to know a big one for floor plans?
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yes, clever.
Yeah,
What are you
closed-off floor
even
plans.
Really? Like closed-off kitchens?
Compartmentalized. So this is a reflection of the pandemic, is what they think. But a lot of people were stuck in like, like I've got to work in my dining room, but it's open, and my partner is watching some stupid TV show, and I'm trying to like be on a Zoom, or they're getting like their workout video that they follow on like Barry's Live or YouTube workouts or whatever, and I'm trying to work. So like it became, people realized like the open floor plan, especially if you were stuck at home with your kids, was kind of uncomfortable. So the ways around it is like you're starting to see some spaces a little bit more compartmentalized. It's still not typically like kitchen and family room, but like your dining room, you'll notice this in some like nicer homes right now or like nicer builder products. They're starting to do like movable glass walls even. So like a glass door that's like framed like big black heavy metal, or sometimes just frameless, but it like will like to where like one side of it will completely open, but otherwise it's closed off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or they're starting to put like the arches, like where all of our open, kind of like, if you had like a dining room, it would like have like a square opening to it. Now people are starting to do like wider arches, because again, it just helps like cut off a little bit. And you're starting to see, more compartmentalization back in the floor plan.
Yeah, some more usable space kind of.
Yeah, in case you're stuck at home. Again, if there's like another pandemic, which
let's hope not.
We all hope not. But again, it makes it to where it's more functional. Because if you think about it, it is kind of a pain. Like if you're at home and you're trying to get something done, and then you have to hear like, I don't know, CSI, whatever city or something, like, I don't want to hear that. It's like, it's just annoying. So,
for sure.
More functional.
So, I do have a question for you, Jake. I feel like this is like question hour. Do you believe in like the term timeless when it comes to design?
For certain materials and goods, yes. So, if like, what's crazy to me is like the marble that's coming back right now, it looks exactly like marble that was used in like mansions at the turn of the previous century, not the turn of like 21st, but like early 1900s. And it was like, it's like beautiful. That's what they could get their hands on. And so it reminds me of that. So nothing is like totally timeless to where it's gonna be popular now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, and 100 years. It's not gonna last every single trend, I don't think. But there are certain things that they come back more often than others. And that's gonna be any natural product. So man-made products, like quartz is a great product right now. There will be eventually a man-made product that comes out that is better than quartz. But like a real natural hardwood, a real marble countertop, that's timeless because the earth has created it for millions of years.
That makes
so
sense.
that like you usually can like, especially like wood floors, you can change those as trends come. Like you can sand them down and restain them. You can go gray, sand them down, stain them brown if you need to. So that, and then marbles, yes, in general, marbles are always, they're like the closest to timeless you can get for like any sort of countertop material.
That makes a lot
They
of
can
sense.
be done in different trendy ways. Like right now, think about it, in kitchens, it's really popular to have to where like your countertop goes down on the sides. That's called like a waterfall, it's like where, you've seen that, it's a waterfall edge. That's really popular, and it's like a new way to do the marble, but like marble itself is just, is closest to timeless.
But the design of how it's waterfall may change. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but like Carrera, like you can almost never go wrong with like a Carrera marble wherever you can use it. And it will never go out of style.
What is Carrera marble?
It's the white. It's white with like the gray and the black veining.
Oh,
it's typically the more cooler toned one. The other marble that's very similar that has kind of like more like goldish or warm tones through it is called Calcutta. And so they just come from different parts of the world.
Okay.
But yeah, so those two marbles, depending on like if you naturally generally are going to be more of a cool tone person or a warm tone person. If you think about it, your house should kind of match your style, like personally. So if you are generally more warms, then like the Calcutta works better for you.
Yeah.
Carrera is just so popular.
Yeah.
Think of like Marble Slab Creamery, like where they make the ice cream. That's Carrera marble that they use.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
My client did that a couple years ago.
It's always a good choice. So that's like, I don't think there's like a trend or anything like that that's timeless, but materials can be close to timeless.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I love it.
All right. I love it. I love this episode.
Me too.
We're getting to learn all the things at the same time, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still so much when it comes to design, like just terminology or different styles or.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so much.
There's just like easy ways, especially coming from like the builder world. I know all the ways to like make your builder box house look more customized.
Yeah. See, I would love to be like watch you
That could be a whole nother episode. Like, how do you take like a cookie cutter,
there's so
builder
many
grade?
tips.
I hate like the builder grade stuff. Like, obviously with some builders, there's no other option than builder grade.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways that you can accent walls and things like that you can do.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
For sure.
All right. Well, happy birthday, Jay.
Thank you.
Everyone go wish Jake happy
28
birthday.
feels so good again.
All right, guys.
Okay, bye
Bye.
guys.
Bye.